difference would this make? It won't make any difference. Well, what if I did this? Well, that makes a big difference. If I change this angle, the problem's not my head. I see people all the time like this. Doesn't do you any good to keep your head down if your whole body's coming up. This is the problem. This angle right here, or this angle, or getting up on my toes, or straightening my legs, those would all be issues. This is the problem. The bend forward for your hips, not lifting your head up. Okay? Worst piece of advice you could ever have. So restrictive. I don't ever tell anybody that. Another thing I don't ever tell people, and I hear this all the time, is people would come to me for lessons and they go, Hank, my swing is too fast. I just can't slow it down. And I'm like, really? Your swing is too fast. What do you like, hitting it too far? That's your problem? Wow. It's unbelievable. It's like when the guy hits it like this, and he's got this nice swing, and everybody goes, well, he's not long, but he's really straight. And I'm like, it's a good thing, because if you were crooked and that short, you'd really be bad. Everyone's potential in the game is dictated by the ability to create club head speed. You have two factors in golf, distance and direction. The most important thing by far is if you have distance, you have great potential. It's like this year on my show, I've got Michael Phelps, and everybody says, Michael's got a lot of potential. Okay? I'll translate that for you. He can't find his ball. Okay? Because guys that have a lot of potential hit it a long way. But because they hit it a long way, control is a big issue. There isn't anybody telling this guy, they don't watch this guy swing and they go, oh, you got a lot of potential. No, you don't. You're as good as you're ever going to get. That's it. That's it. Because how good can you be? It's going to take you forever to get to the hole. So I'm telling people all the time, let me see you pick up the pace. Let me see you swing the club faster. Let me see what you've got. And every time I do this, I tell people, swing it faster. And they come back after that every time. This happens every single time I tell people to swing faster. They come back, they say, Hank, I tried what you said. I tried to swing harder. It didn't work. I never said harder. I said faster. And every single time people come back and say, I tried to swing harder. People already swing too hard. They're like this. First off, they're hard when they set up. And then they go, ugh. And the club is barely moving. You have to swing the golf club. You hear that swish? When I first started teaching, I worked with a man named John Jacobs, and I think John was the finest instructor the world's ever seen. He's from England. And he said, the golf swing, in its simplest terms, is nothing more than two turns and a swish. You turn back, you turn through. You turn back, you turn through, and in between those two turns, you make a switch. And when you do that, you might have to take a breath. I see people like this all the time, they're like, I'm like, this is a sporting event. That is closer to taking a nap than playing a sport. My gosh, speed it up. Hit the ball. Sure, if you hit it longer, it'll go more offline, but you have to have that potential. And by the way, if you do hit the ball longer, in some way you get more accurate. You get more accurate with your irons, because your irons, you hit more underneath the ball. That produces backspin. Backspin counteracts side spin. So short irons, a 7-iron goes straighter than a 5-iron. A 9-iron goes straighter than a 7-iron. You hit those clubs straighter when you have more loft. So the faster you swing, the less club you have to use, you get more accuracy. And sure, When you swing easier, yeah, you're going to hit it straighter. Because if it doesn't go anywhere, it can't go too far offline. But you got to get there faster. You know, if you remain convinced that swinging slow and easy is your key to better golf, okay? There's only one thing you have to do to get a slow, smooth swing. There's only one thing you have to do. It's not that hard. One thing you have to do. All you have to do is live long enough. That's it. That's it. Because you know what? If you live long enough, you're going to have a slow swing. And I hope, you know what? I hope when I'm 85 years old, I'm still out there, you know, playing golf. And you know what I'm going to be thinking? I'm going to be thinking, man, I remember when I used to could carry that water. I remember when I used to be able to fly it over that sand trap. I remember when I used to be able to get to that green in 2. And the one thing you're going to be missing is clubhead speed. So the point of my story is if you're trying to slow your swing down, you're trying to get older faster. Who is trying to, why would you want to get older faster? I just don't get it. Why would you want to get older faster? You know, when I look around the group, and you know, there's very few of us that aren't past our prime, myself included. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're getting slower every day, whether we like it or not. We don't have to try to slow down. The reason why I tell people this is because if you could swing the club 4 miles an hour faster, and the reason I say this, I know everyone has 4 more miles an hour in them. You get 2.5 yards for every mile an hour of clubhead speed. If you could swing the club 4 miles an hour faster, you'd gain 10 yards. Now, if you're going to shoot somewhere in the 80s, you take about 50 shots, 30-something putts, 50 shots, 10 yards longer on each one. That's 500 yards. Now, think of it. You go to a golf course, you look at the scorecard. One scorecard says 6,600 yards. Another scorecard says 6,100 yards. That's a huge difference. Which one do you think is going to be easier for you? The 6,100. You know, people ask, why didn't Tiger Woods just hit iron off the tee? Why doesn't he hit 3-wood off the tee? Because Rory McIlroy's hitting driver. And he's hitting at 325 yards. And if Tiger hits iron off the tee and he's 50 yards behind him, and he's 50 yards behind 14 drives, that's 700 yards. And you can't beat somebody spotting them 700 yards. You just can't do it. Distance is so important in golf. So you swing the club faster. And how do you swing it faster? One, you tell yourself to go faster. You know, it's like we're walking up to the clubhouse here, and you know, you said, how do I walk faster? I mean, you just do. You know, you go faster. You know, I mean, you tell yourself to move faster. You don't. I tell you what, you don't go faster by telling yourself to move slower. That's not going to happen. You relax more, because when you're relaxed, you can swing faster. And that's why everybody kind of hits, you know, their longest drive when they feel like they swing easy. You're really swinging faster, but you're nice and relaxed. So you have a lot of relaxation in your arms, your hands. That allows you to go faster. You have a bigger turn, a bigger arc. The manufacturers give you a bigger arc because the clubs are longer now. This one's 55.5 inches long, so it's a longer club. It gives you a bigger arc, gives you more speed. You turn your feet out, you widen your stance a little bit. That allows your hips to turn, your shoulders to turn. You get a bigger swing that way. You swing your arms back a little farther, but most importantly, allow your wrist to hinge. Because if you don't hinge your wrist, your swing is going to be very short like this, and no matter how much you turn, you're not going to get the club back. You allow your wrist to hinge, and you swing the club. 2 turns and a switch. Speed it up. All right, now once you get that swing going, you got that turn going in both directions, you have to get the timing right. And what that means is you have to coordinate your hands and arms with your body. Okay? Now, if I have one thing going too fast, in other words, let's say my hands and arms are going too fast, and what that means is my body's going too slow. If my body's going too fast, then that means my hands and arms are going too slow, because it's all about the timing of the swing. If something's mistimed, and you just slow it down, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the sequence. It's like, you know, at my teaching facility, we have video cameras that go 4,000 frames a second. If you think your swing's too fast, I can slow it down as slow as you want it. It's still a mess. I mean, it doesn't change anything. It's still the same swing. You know, it's like saying, you know, if your car isn't driving well and it's missing, it needs a tune-up. It's like saying, well, don't drive over 30 miles an hour. It doesn't fix anything. You just notice it less. Well, you notice it less when you swing slow and easy, because it doesn't really matter what you're doing, because it's always going to go pretty straight if it doesn't go anywhere. You have to get the timing right in your swing. If my hands and arms are swinging too fast relative to my body, I have something that looks like this. I'm out of sync. Okay? And when that happens, when my hands and arms outrace the body, this happens. And the club's going to close too much, and I'm going to hook the ball too much to the left. So in that case, what I want to do is I want to speed my body up, because this is where I was on that shot. Body stopped, club kept going. Look where the club face is. But if I turn my hips, now look at the club face. And that's going to keep it square. So if you're hooking the ball too much to the left, you have to speed up the clearing of your body. That will slow down the closing of the club face. That will keep the face more square through the hip. The opposite, if you're slicing. If you set up the ball and your upper body goes too fast, the club leg's too far behind, and you'll tend to hit this shot that goes off over there. That weak shot that goes to the right. This went too fast. That was lagging way behind, never caught up. Slow the body down, turn, slow the body down, keep your back to the target, speed up your hands and arms, and that will close the club face. So if you slice too much to the right, turn back, hold your back to the target, slow the body, speed the hands and arms, you can close the face. If you hook too much, hands and arms are going too fast, body too slow, turn the body through more when you come through. Okay? Everybody got that? Yeah. All right. Okay. Couple things that you can practice, and then, you know, one more key point, and then we'll have some questions. Okay? I always tell people, I said, you know, if you wanna get better at something, it doesn't matter what it is in life. I mean, I don't care, you know, golf, anything you want to get better at. If you want to get better at something, the easiest way is to find someone that's good at something that you're trying to do, and do what they do. It's a very simple concept. It's called role model.